Hi, my name is Emily Nasello, and today I'm going to be talking to you about hashtag #NoDAPL. Now, just to clarify, DAPL stands for the Dakota Access Pipeline, but for the sake of the speech, to keep time short, I'm going to say DAPL. So, what exactly is it? This is the length that it's supposed to run. It's going to run from North Dakota to Illinois, where it's going to meet with a conglomerate of other pipelines. And it's going to run under the Missouri River, which is kind of part of the issue. Also, it's going through Sioux territory, which is another issue. It's about a $4 billion construction project, and it's estimated to produce, according to DAPL Pipeline Facts, which is actually, the people who are making DAPL. They have a whole website with the projections for what it's going to do. It's projected to make near 600,000 barrels of crude oil a day, and it's supposed to be near 1,200 miles long. So on August 10th, the Army Corps of Engineers actually fast-tracked the project less than 24 hours after the Sioux tribe submitted evidence that it was sacred territory that it could not be built on. So this led to many protests, hashtag #NoDAPL. So the U.S. didn't consult the Sioux government, which was, it's supposed to happen if there's any sacred land. According to a treaty they made in 1992, U.S. government can't bully native tribes into doing what they want. They have to have a legitimate government-to-government discussion about it. Next, there's oil spills and fear of carbon emissions from more fossil fuel extractions, which people who are concerned with global warming are also concerned about. Like I said, there's sacred territory. A lot of people are really concerned about this because of global warming, but for me personally, I know it's mainly a big thing for me because of Native American rights. I feel like we're really infringing upon those in this. And we have a history of taking advantage of the Native Americans, I believe, because we came over here, took all this land from them, gave them these parcels of land, and then we decided that we were going to take it back. So why do people like it? Well, it can stimulate the economy, which is beneficial. It can go towards things like roadways, education, local government money, which is good because it's projected to produce, according to DAPL Pipeline again, it's expected to produce $156 million in revenue and between 8,000 to 12,000 jobs, which, like I said, is very beneficial for us, the U.S. But for the Sioux, it's not so beneficial. DAPL Pipeline said that they were going to be very open, responsive, and make sure that all landowners would be compensated or be taken care of if they were affected by this. So people think it's good because DAPL has promised landowner protection. However, that's not necessarily the case completely. Another reason people like it is because it reduces the need for road and rail transport of crude oil, which is much more dangerous than pipeline transport, I will say. However, pipeline transport isn't much safer. And another reason people like it is because of domestic oil production. We import a lot more than we export, so or a lot more than we produce. So having more oil production obviously seems like a good thing for us. So let's analyze the validity of these claims. For the economy, like I said, it's estimated to do good things for us, but for the Sioux, it isn't the same. It's a little bit ethnocentric of us to take something that they value as precious, which would be land, and pay them with something that we value as precious, which is money. They don't look at money the same way that we do. They want the land, not the money. And so from 1868, there was a Laramie Land Treaty, which basically the land that we initially took from them when we conquered the U.S., we gave back to them, and this Standing Rock territory was given back to them. 11 years later, we thought that there was gold in that land, so we decided we were going to take it back again. So under threat of starvation, they conceded this land to us. So technically, it was our land, but in 1980, we tried to compensate the Sioux for this land, and they refused it. They said, we don't want the money, we want the land, and that money still sits in U.S. Treasury today. So landowner protection, like I said, while they said they were going to take care of all those who were being affected by this, doesn't really seem that way. This is actually a picture of people trapped on a bridge being sprayed with tear gas and cold water in 26-degree weather. So I don't think that they're being very open or responsive or answering questions like they said they would. Now, the environmental impact part. I know not everyone believes in global warming. However, I do think it's a big deal because it can, I'm going to say it can affect our environment. And there are other alternatives, like alternative energy, which I'll talk about in a second. But people are really concerned with the fossil fuel emissions and spills. So there have been, according to the Center for Effective Government, there's been over 3,300 spills in the last 5 years with hundreds of injuries and 80 deaths. So while pipelines are more safe than railroads, they're still pretty dangerous and can lead to millions of dollars in damages. And in 2013 alone, we had near 1 million gallons that leaked from a lightning bolt striking a pipeline. So what can we do? There's other forms of energy, and while they may not be totally feasible yet, renewable resources are much more beneficial than non-renewable resources, especially non-renewable resources that can hurt our environment and damage 18 million people's drinking water. So California alone could power 11% of the world's energy with wind power. So I think we should definitely start exploring those options more. And I call you guys to visit these 2 websites to make donations or see, just to learn about what the Sioux need, whether it's blankets, money, or, you know, buy a plane ticket to North Dakota and go protest yourself. But don't do that until, you know, like December 3rd-ish, I think is when they start arresting, so don't go after them. And then these are my sources. So I hope I could at least, you know, give you a little bit of insight into #NoDapple.